Joining us today is a multi-seven-figure entrepreneur and business coach specializing in digital marketing and online business. Before transitioning into business coaching, she was an influencer and digital marketer. Her experiences in these fields led her to create her digital marketing agency and develop online courses to guide others out of traditional 9-to-5 roles. Her most significant work, the Laptop Lifestyle Master Program, provides comprehensive training in digital skills, freelancing, and online business strategies. She is also the author of What Influence, a book that explores the impact of social media on mental health and provides insights into working online without needing a substantial social media following. She is also one of the co-authors of the best-selling book Women Gone Wild, Intuition, a TEDx speaker and keynote speaker, and she has been featured in publications such as Forbes, Elle, Grazia, and more. So guys, help me welcoming the one and only Yet When Wick.
Thank you so much for having me.
I know you have built this amazing, massive online empire. You have helped so many people quit a job and start their own business. But I want to know about your story. Like, how did you first get started with online business?
Yeah. So basically, I was in Bali for a study. So I studied hospitality management in the Netherlands. After I wasn't able to become a police officer, that was my first dream. But in the Netherlands, there was a freeze, so I couldn't start that study. So I went into hospitality management because my second aspiration, besides becoming a police officer, was becoming business owner like my dad. So I chose hospitality. And then this study was super cool because in your third year, it allowed you to go to basically for 6 months to a different country. So I was in Bali for 3 months and then in Bangkok for 3 months to do event management. And here I saw people working from their laptop and traveling the world. And I was like, wait a minute, that sounds great. And that is actually where for me that ball started rolling off like, okay, what makes me happy, what does give me fulfillment, and also just realizing that there's more in the world that I want to discover. So from that moment, I started to dabble into, I did MLM, affiliate marketing, I had a web shop, blog, eventually influencer. And then I still did my last year of my study in London, which was in the basement of a hotel. The office was located there, so there were no windows, no natural air. And I did that internship because I was like, okay, let me just get my degree. But that was like a double confirmation for me that, obviously 9 to 5 is not for me. And yeah, that really pushed me then to, find a way to work online that worked for me. And that led me then to fly back to Asia because I felt like that's where it all started.
Mm,
And then I became an influencer. And
again,
then from
okay.
there, a lot changed. But that was my first, let's say, successful attempt at making any money online. After failing, so many other ways, I became an influencer. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so let me back up a little. So you were studying, you were doing your hospitality, events in
Yeah.
Asia, and then you saw the possibilities of others working on their laptop, having the lifestyle, right? And because I think it's important to say that that is like your aha moment. Like this is
Yeah.
possible. There are people out
Exactly.
there doing it, and we've seen it all over social media today. But how many years ago are we talking about? Is it like 5 years ago?
Yeah, this was, I think, 2017.
Okay.
So yeah, that is
Wow.
7 years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't really a thing, right? I believe back then.
Not yet.
Yeah,
It was starting to come, and I feel like that's why I was still an influencer even when the algorithm was really good.
yeah.
So, it was really easy to get likes and followers and comments. It was all still chronological and very authentic. And I was one of the not that many travel bloggers at that time. And there was already all these ways like MLM, affiliate marketing, blogging, like all these ways already existed, but I do feel like it was still pretty new at that point. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty new. So would you say it's a lot harder
Mm.
as compared to back then to start an online business and start sitting with it?
I think yes and no. I think it is harder in a way because we have so much information overload right now on the internet. So there's now 100 ways you can work online. And I feel like what happens a lot is that people don't know which one to choose. And as soon as they start something, they try it a little bit, then they will already hop to something else because they saw a video and it looks so easy, you know? There is not this like, there's too much, yeah, information overload, I feel like. So unless you're putting yourself on an information diet and you just choose one way to work online, you commit to it and you actually dive into that, then I think it's not necessarily harder. In ways, it's easier as well. Because right now we have access to more information, we have access to more AI and tools and softwares that can support us and make our business grow quicker. But the biggest trap of all time is, of course, the imposter syndrome now, because we see so many people doing different things. And then discipline is really, a skill and something you need to master to say, instead of thinking that everything else is easier and hopping around, I'm going to try this one thing and give it like 1 to 2 years, and commit to it. And then I think you can still be very successful starting an online business now for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned information diet. Like this is the
Mm-hmm.
first time I'm hearing that term. Did you come up with this term and explain what it means?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, this is actually what I really teach my students as well in our program. So it means that if you decided to take my program, or you decide to take this university study, or you decide to learn how to become a coder or web developer, then that is the thing you should stick to. And then you should put yourself on an information diet, which means that you're only, if you chose my program, you're only going to listen to my content, only going to listen to my videos. You're not going to watch 10 other YouTubers and creators and podcasts, and because everyone has a slightly different take on something. But the reason why you choose, for example, a mentor, coach, or teacher is because you want to get their result, the result that they have, and they made a recipe for you to follow to get the same result. Now, if we start adding a lot of other ingredients and things to that, because we hear it here and there, we saw a YouTube video, they told you to do this, they told you that, then you're going to mess up the recipe and it's not going to work. So this is why I tell my students, like, you're going to be on an information diet. Stop listening to everything else. Just focus on this. Don't do anything else. And I feel like that's very effective and really needed right now in, the age of social media that we're in now.
Yeah, that is so key, and just think about podcasting. There are so many
Mm,
podcasts out there. If
yeah,
you only listen to this one podcast
yeah,
about the thing that you want to learn, that you want to
yeah,
master, right? It could be
yeah,
health, business, or relationship. Then you just
yeah,
listen to the podcaster and you will get the results, like,
yeah,
instead of being overwhelmed by information, like you said. So
yeah,
yeah, thank you so much for
exactly.
that is really important. That's so
Mm,
key in today's world.
yeah,
Yeah.
totally,
So I
totally.
want to go back to your story because I know when I was doing my research, you actually
Mm,
left Europe and sorry, London, right?
yeah,
And quit your job and decided to come back to Asia. And you, if I'm not wrong, you only had $500
yeah.
or $600, sorry, and you have no plan. Like, what were you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, so for me, let's say coming to Asia, like growing up in the Netherlands, and with my family, we traveled to Spain and the European countries. I don't know, for some reason, just my intuition always called me to Asia, and specifically to Bali, already when I was studying. So when I did my 3 months of like a specialization course here, super random why I got here. And also why I studied hospitality management, because I'd never worked in hospitality in my life. I worked in a garden center for 8 years. So even when I applied to hospitality university, they said like, why are you here? You've never worked in a restaurant or a hotel. It was just my intuition. I was like, I think I should do this study. Because I can go to Bali. And then when I was in Bali and obviously learned and met a lot of people here that worked online, I was like, you know what? That is where for me that world opened up. So I feel like I just need to go back there and it will figure itself out. So it was again intuition. Now, yeah, at this point, I felt so many ways to work online. I even got scammed by, getting hired for a fake job, a MLM
Yeah.
company that I invested in collapsed. Like, of course, my parents were super worried. But
Yeah.
I told them, no, I have it sorted. I have an online job and actually had nothing. So I sold all my clothes and my furniture. And that money I used to basically buy a new suitcase, my visa, and my plane tickets. And then, yeah, I had, I think, $600 left to my name. And I remember sitting in the airplane, and you see that map basically on the
Yeah.
screen of like, you're in Amsterdam, you're going to Bali. And I was thinking, like, what am I doing? Like, I'm alone. I don't know anyone there. Like, what is the plan? And this was a very pivotal moment of like, okay, just trusting your gut, literally your intuition, and putting it all on that. Because it's true that I felt like I have this idea, either God, universe, multiple gods, whatever you believe in, put this idea, this seed in my head that I should go to Bali and I should try to create an online business. And I was like, you know what? I think I should follow that. And if it all fails, I'm sure I can get a corporate job again like that. Because even when I actually left that company, which was Hilton Hotels, I got offered a really good job as marketing and communications
Wow.
for the whole UK and Ireland for recruitment. And I declined it. But I was like, I'm pretty confident I can get this back or a similar job. So I was like, why not? Let's do this because your gut tells you to, and just fully go for it. Um, and then in Bali, I mean, while I was here and also traveling in Asia, it was always easy. Like I still failed at a lot of things and tried so many. um, Eventually, influencing then took off, and I was making good money being a travel blogger. But then I did stop that because of the negative effects on my mental health and how fake it all seemed to me.
Mm.
Um, and then after that, I found freelancing actually, and that worked and just all made sense right away. So yeah,
I'm sure it wasn't easy, right? When people look at your success
yeah,
today, they thought, she's lucky, she has all
yeah,
this.
yeah.
But now that you're sharing your journey or how you actually eventually get here, it's not a straight line, right?
Yeah.
You try so many things, MLM, got scammed,
Hmm.
and $600 to your name, and
Yeah.
we won't hear about that part of the
Yeah.
story. So, and I
Yeah.
think you mentioned something really important is the mindset of I can always go back to my job.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what holds people back is that I cannot leave my comfort zone, right? What if I don't have income coming in every month? How do I pay my bills? But if you never try, then you never know
Hmm.
what's gonna happen. But if you just stay stuck in this job that you hate, right? You're
Yeah.
always thinking, what if? But what if you just try? And if it doesn't work, you can always go back to your job. I think that's very important. To be honest, now I can only speak for myself.
Hmm.
Once you have tried or tasted the freedom of a digital lifestyle, being an entrepreneur, it's very hard to go back to a 9 to 5 job. Would you agree?
Totally, 100%. Yeah. And that is, I think, especially once you've had your first, like, let's say for me, it was freelance client or your first sales or, whatever business you're setting up, you did that. So you know that you can do it again. So it's like it's just a formula, you can make that happen again. So why would you go back to something that didn't make you happy and that restrained you? Um, so that's what I always feel like a lot of people's, let's say, worst case scenario is not even my worst case scenario. Like worst case scenario is not that I fail at something or that I that it took me time to figure out. Like worst case scenario is that you go back to a job that you hate. That
Mm.
is the worst case scenario. So it's not failing because we need to fail at things to get feedback and to learn and to grow. So for me, that's not scary. The scary thing is accepting that us as humans are
Mm.
gonna do things we don't like and regret it for the rest of our life. That is my worst case scenario. Yeah. But you're right. I will never go back. I feel like yeah, once you have the skill of knowing how to work online and how to have a business, at least that's my mindset. Like I don't know, I can sell a pencil for all I care, you know? I can make anything work now. Once you understand marketing and once you understand, building online businesses, it's a recipe, and I think you can duplicate it as many times as you want. You can redo it as many times as you want. And at least, yeah, I will never have to go back to a basement office.
Yeah. But again, I'm sure you are aware of this as well. So many people in the coaching, especially or online space today, they are the first thing they struggle with is marketing. They can't get
Hmm.
clients. Yes, they have amazing offer. They have amazing.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't have amazing offer because if you have an amazing offer, you will sell their offer, right?
Yeah.
Uh, I don't know. Like people are struggling, right?
Hmm.
In the online space or coaching industry, and they are not getting clients. They are overwhelmed. They are struggling with mental health. So why is that? Because what you just said is that you didn't say it's easy, but that is something that we can follow and you can learn from someone. But yes, I see so
Yeah.
many people they're learning from all these marketing gurus or people
Hmm.
who claim to be successful and they can teach you their strategy, their framework, but still they follow
Yeah.
everything, every step, but still not seeing the result you
Mm.
want in. And what is the problem?
Yeah, I think it depends on so many factors, so it's hard to say one thing. But what I can say for myself is it is probably 10% of the knowledge that you learn from someone, 90% is your execution in it.
Mm,
So I do feel like, yeah, a lot of people buy courses or invest in coaching, but do they actually follow through what's being taught? Do they actually hop on the coaching calls, even if it's at 2 a.m. your time, to
yeah.
figure out what the problem is or how to optimize? And okay, I think this is how a really good analogy, right? If we talk about e-learning, online coaching, and things like that, you can find the ingredients on the internet in YouTube videos,
Yeah.
templates, random things, free courses. You can find the ingredients. Now, you can follow a recipe, which is a course.
Mm,
Okay, self-paced course is just a recipe. It is you get the ingredients and how to now do it. What are the steps? And then you can get a master chef who's going to stand next to you, help you, give you feedback, taste it for you. That is coaching.
yeah.
So there's these different levels of investment as well. Even if we use this analogy, right? If you want to become like the best restaurant in the world, you should probably invest into the master chef, not just randomly find ingredients or follow a recipe that you found. You should actually invest in that. And then it's again the question, how often do you go back to your master chef to ask for feedback? Do you implement the feedback? Are you testing enough? There's so many factors that go into it. So for me, it's like if you invest in high ticket coaching where you actually get guidance, um, like for me, the biggest pivotal moment from going from like six figures, I would say, to multiple seven was
Mm,
because I invested in myself. And I think that the first coach I invested in was 7.5K. The
wow.
second one was 15K. And the third one was 45K. And I've
Wow.
already been with him for 2 years. So I've spent like almost close, probably close to 200K US dollar into learning and into coaching, into getting guidance, and more specifically, access to the master chef. Not just watching his videos, but actually getting access so I can ask questions. So he can literally look into my numbers. So he can literally look into what I'm doing.
Mm,
So I think investing in yourself in that way, like getting the right guidance, super important. I guess like that would be my question. I feel like if you invest in access at that level, I don't think you can fail if you really listen to the person and you show up. But
yeah.
yeah, maybe if you just found some random courses online or a very cheap course,
Yeah.
then you don't have that master chef. You're just following a recipe and hoping for the best, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think that's true because so many people don't invest in themselves, right?
Hmm.
They don't invest in a coach. They just
Yeah.
watch a bunch of YouTube videos, listen to a bunch of podcasts, and for free
Yeah.
information, which is nothing wrong, right? But at the end of the day, still you need to work with a master chef, like you said,
Yeah.
master coach to help you. We need hand holding, come on, right? I mean, all of
Yeah.
us.
I think also I always compare it even to university, you know. I think if we, I don't know the exact numbers, but it's going to depend on university. But let's say, I think I read one about university in the US. from a specific study, and that out of all the people that actually, signed up and went for that specific education, I think like already 30% dropped out the first year, a bigger percentage the second year, and then only a small percentage actually got the degree.
Yeah.
Out of that, are those people guaranteed a job? No. When you start a study, you never get a guarantee that you're going to get a job, right? So imagine out of that smaller percentage then that actually got the degree, how many do get the job that they were hoping for? It's also very small, right?
Yes.
So the people that dropped out in the first year could be for reasons that maybe it wasn't for them. Okay, but they still had to pay, right?
Yeah.
To find that out. The second reason could be, did they actually go to all the lectures? Did they study for the test? So you can see that that is also their input is the output that they're going to get in the end. And for me, even in my finishing my study, I graduated with good grades because I went to the classes, I showed up, I
Mhm.
asked the teacher questions. Now imagine you don't go to any of the lectures, any of the classes, you never ask any question to the teacher, and then you say, "No, this study was so bad, like it didn't work for me." It's like, come on, you never showed up. You never did the input that was required to get the output that you wanted. And I feel like we should look at coaching and courses the same way. If
Yeah.
you don't show up and you don't ask the right questions and you don't actually give the input that's required, it's not a magic lottery ticket or a magic job offer that's just going to come because you signed up. You have to actually
Yes.
do the work,
Yeah.
to get the results as well. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, yes, thanks for mentioning that because I
Mm.
remember when I was in this part of this group coaching, right?
Yeah.
It was high ticket. I paid $5K, to join, and I remember so we had like twice a week coaching live calls, and
Hmm.
I was the only one. I was the one who showed up, like first
Yeah.
one who showed
Yeah.
up, and nobody else. I was like, these people pay all this money and they are not even
Yeah.
like, why is that?
I know. It's crazy. I
It's
also
crazy.
sometimes don't understand. And we even sometimes students like, oh, Jet, but the call is at like 10 p.m. for me. It's so late. I'm like,
What?
you want to change your life, so you have to make a sacrifice.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know, my coach was in the US and I'm obviously
yeah,
now in Bali. So the calls were at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 5 a.m. and I was still there. So, it's you do need to have some grit, I feel. And it's the same for university. Like, are you going to ask the teacher to change the time of the lecture because you are a little bit tired? No. You
yeah,
just have to show up and make it work. Yeah. So in that way, yes, I do feel we can be a bit stricter as well in our online programs with that. And that is why, even for us, we really hard qualify people before they can even start. Because honestly, I don't want people that are not going to show up anyway. What's the point? If they're not going to take action anyway, they don't have time, they can't make time for the calls, and they're not willing to put in the work, then
yeah,
I rather not even enroll them at all to avoid, avoid having people that have no success because of
yeah.
that.
Because as a coach, all we want is to get results, right? Get them
Yeah.
results, and because if they win, our clients, we win as well as a coach.
Yeah.
So, okay, okay, I know we talk about a lot of things, right? And of course, we want to cover the strategies, but I want to finish
Yeah.
off your story. So, you moved back to Bali. How long did it take for you to become the person you are today, to build a successful seven-figure, six-figure business?
Yeah, so I feel like now it's been 4 years where I've really gone, from the first year doing like multiple six figures, second year already going into seven figures, and now third, fourth year really multi seven figures per year, which is really great. And we are still aiming to go to actually seven figures per month. That is the
Wow.
goal for 2025 as well. And yeah, I think one thing that I think is good to note about that, because we talk a lot about money and
Yep.
figures and all of that. Um, Things like awards, certain accomplishments. For me, what I just realized is that when you set a goal like that, like I want to get the 2 Comma Club award, I want to get the 10X award, I want to get to 1 million, 2 million. when we set goals like that, we think that once we're there, we're gonna feel different. Like that somehow something is gonna happen. Like we're
Yeah,
gonna feel like, whoa, but it doesn't
I made
happen,
it.
guys.
Really,
It
it
doesn't
doesn't.
happen. No, you feel exactly the same, and your problems are the same or they're even more. So what I really learned is that you have to love the process, not the outcome. And that's a very common quote, I know. But if we go deeper into that, for me, what is my biggest accomplishment to date is the person I had to become to achieve what I have achieved. So it's the characteristics, it's the personality traits that I worked on, it's the self development, it's my discipline, it's all the skills I learned. That I think is the biggest accomplishment, is the person I had to become to achieve those things. It is not the things itself, but it's the person I became because of those things. And I feel like if you keep that in your mind, that is the biggest reward of all times, and you love, enjoy and try to love the process of building the business, the process of it, and not necessarily the numbers or the outcome, that you're going to be around much longer in this industry. Yeah.
And you're gonna have a better mental health, right? I
Yeah.
mean, not stressing all the time. So it's wow, it's interesting you mentioned that when you achieve all these goals and become a millionaire, you didn't feel any different. Like,
Yeah.
because so many people we are working so hard towards that
Yeah.
destination, right? And for the longest time, Tokoma Club was like my on my vision board. Like this is what I want.
Yeah.
And today I'm not even using ClickFunnels, so it's
Hmm.
never gonna get. But for the longest time, like that's why I wanted to start my own business because I
Yeah.
have this goal. Like once
Yeah.
I get there, I made it, right? But it's so important to realize that no, once you get there, your life is still gonna be the same, right? You have bigger
Yeah.
problems that you said.
Yeah, exactly. And it's also the thing of you're never going to be satisfied. So as soon as you hit a milestone, there's a next one, and that kind of that voided feeling of like something that you always wanted, you have it now, but then it doesn't mean a lot, that can break a lot of people. And that's why I feel like it's important to, think about what is your actual why? Like, why are you actually doing this besides the money, the numbers, like all of that? Like, what's your purpose? What is the impact you want to make on this world? That are bigger and better motivators than necessarily these things. But I, for example, see the Two Comma Club Award as again like more a symbol of the
Mhm.
person I had to become to get to that part. Yeah,
So because I'm sure some people who are watching this or listening to this, they might be thinking, it's easy for you to say because you have already achieved
mm,
it, right? You are this successful, you build a business, you have everything working for you, you have a team, but I'm still struggling, I'm still on this
hmm
journey. So it's easy for you to say. So I'm sure, did you have a moment while you're building your business, that nothing is working or you just lost all the
all
money?
the time.
Like, what kept you going?
Yeah, yeah, no, all the time. I mean, so I think they say that like most business owners, especially at this level, at least they say once a month you think about quitting. It gets even to once a week sometimes,
Really?
you're like, wow. So, it's all cool to have a whole team and all of that. I have 25 people on my payroll right now. That also means when shit goes down, I'm responsible for 25 people
Yeah.
instead of like when I was just on my own. And there are months where I could be making the same money doing everything myself versus having a whole team now. And the whole team is more stress,
Yeah.
responsibilities, people. You scaled this big ass monster company that now you need to keep up with. So that also means that if I don't hit at least $90,000 a month, I'm not going to break even.
Yeah. Scary.
That is huge stress. That is like, and of course, we had a few months ago, all my Instagram accounts were banned for 2 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. There were options. What could I have done? Stop my whole company, fire my whole team, right?
Yeah.
Those are immense stressful moments. And we are actually still recovering from that. Algorithms change, so your traffic influx changes, like, but instead of it's just you, it is now 25 people and like over 3,000 students you are responsible for. So to be honest, it's hard always. It's hard every day. But what I really like, and I think Alex Ramosi said this as well in a really nice way, you get to this point and you have these huge ass problems. And in the beginning, smaller problems, right? When you start out, they may make you still cry. You're like, oh, this is so bad. I feel sorry for myself. Okay. When you get further, you're just in the dark at night in front of your laptop. You're like, with your hands in your hair, you're like, what am I going to do now? But then I actually do smile. I'm like, fuck, Jet. Probably 99.9% would give up now and cry and just stop their whole business, go for sabbaticals or whatever. But you're not. And
Wow.
that's the thing that should give you satisfaction, that you are the one that's not going to quit. You're the one that's going to get through it and you're going to come out better at the end. Um, but of course, like, honestly, it's never easy. And especially for myself, um, I am the only owner, founder, right? It's all on me. I don't have a partner in life as well. So it's all on me, you know? So it's hard every day. It's often, you know, there we go through many things that obviously the business that all falls on the shoulders of the business owner, which is now still me. So yeah, many times you want to quit, but I think it's that feeling of loving the process. You're like, wow, this is really hard. This
Mm.
is a situation where most people would just crawl into the floor and disappear and just stop. But you're not. And then I smile. I'm like, okay, let's do it, you know? Let's go through it. Let's figure it out. We're not gonna stop. So yeah, but yeah, I would say the first 2 years were kind of smooth sailing because my companies were still relatively small in terms of team, in terms of applications, traffic, everything. Last year, we scaled very quick, but it was very smooth. I was like, wow, every month we were gaining 10% in revenue, 20% in revenue, like all up. This year has been like a yeah, very interesting, very deep lows, you know, to the point that yeah, we were doing minus 20,000 a month as
Wow.
well. While the accounts were gone, right? And like I said, we're still recovering from this. So but I'm not going to stop because I know it's going to be worth it
Yeah.
to go through this because we're going to come out better and it's going to be better than obviously stopping. And I don't know, I don't know if you noticed it, but there are quite a lot of creators or business owners that I follow
Mm.
that I do see sabbatical here, like the because I feel like we all hit at this point of like you created this huge ass monster company. Am I gonna keep feeding it or is it gonna eat me, you know?
Yeah.
That's really the thing.
Wow.
um and I 1000% understand why they took sabbaticals or why they stopped. I understand. And I've been very close to thinking about it as well. But right now I'm okay. I'm gonna keep going. And we are really realigning a lot of the things that we are doing in a really good way. So I'm also really excited now about some of the changes that I feel like are gonna get us to, you know, the seven-figure months next year. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, thanks for sharing. I mean, the ups and downs of your business.
Mm,
So, okay, let's talk about strategies because you talk about how your Instagram account got shut down and it happens all the time, right?
yeah.
Recently I have a client and she's my client. Like her Facebook is gone and I reached out to her
Yeah.
on Instagram. I asked her what happened to your Facebook. She said, oh, you got hacked and
Yeah.
suspended. I can never get it back. I was like, what are you gonna do now, right?
Yeah.
And so things like this, it happens all the time. So what is your top or number one strategy for getting clients online or in the digital space without relying heavily on social media or a
Hmm.
following? Because I think that's a mindset that a lot of people have. Limiting mindsets that I need to have a large following in order
Yeah.
to build a successful business.
Yeah. Yeah, it's two ways. I mean, so first of all, anything that you don't own is not yours.
Mm.
So you only own your email list, and you actually even only own it if you download it to your computer. You know,
Yeah.
that's the only thing you can own, leads and email list and phone numbers that you collected through your opt-in forms. That's why it's very important to build an email list, and we have a huge one, you know, so that also kept us going during those 2 months as well. Um, we relied very heavily on Instagram traffic, organic and shout outs. Now, for us, that just brought the best conversion. So I just turned a blind eye to things like LinkedIn, TikTok, or Facebook ads. Now we are starting to learn about it, but it's very hard for that to match what I was doing
Right.
organically on Instagram. So, of course, when our accounts were gone, that was impossible to get it to that level that quick. So now we are diversifying. You don't need Instagram followers or followers in general in order for, in my case, right, what I teach to become a freelancer. To have an agency, you also don't need it. To become a coach or a course creator, you also necessarily don't need it. You are just working then more by yourself, no team, and you're just taking on a few selected high ticket clients. You can make great revenue from that. But if you want to scale, and you want to get hundreds of applications and intakes a month, then yes, obviously you need to get traffic from somewhere, either ads or organic. And if you grow organically, that will result into followers as well. But you don't necessarily need it, especially not to get started. Right. And it's kind of vanity metrics too, because getting a million views on your reel doesn't mean that you got a million customers right now.
No.
Um, so a lot goes into that, let's say, conversion and all of that. But yeah, that's the mindset thing. One, you don't need it. The second thing that's good to touch base on is this thing of I do believe that if you do want to blow up somewhere,
Mhm.
LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram,
Right.
especially when you're starting out, that you do have to choose one. Because doing all the platforms that exist, you're going to half-ass everything.
Yeah.
You're not going to get results anywhere. That is also why we decided to focus fully on Instagram. However, when I got to a point, I should have then diversified, but I just kept going, you know? So when you get to a point where you get really good results, you have some capital, then you should now start to invest into other ads and other platforms as well. Plus, I would always grow an email list. So choose one social media platform. And besides that, grow your email list. Because yes, it is true. I believe you do need focus. You cannot be online on every platform in every strategy and do cold
Mm.
calling, cold emailing, and be here and be there, you know? It is not sustainable and it's not going to work. You need to choose one. So I would think about, where is your ideal customer avatar hanging out the most? Which social media platform? And how can you reach them there? Focus on that platform in terms of your marketing strategy. And then besides that, build an email list to get those people on an email list so that you own that if anything does happen. In terms of not getting your accounts banned, there's nothing to say about that,
Yeah.
because like it happens randomly. Of course, following community guidelines and all of that. We were doing all of that. We got most likely taken down by competitors that paid someone
Wow. Really?
inside the company. Yes, it's a very long story, and I might make a
Okay.
documentary about this actually, because it was like the level of insanity, and like it was a mix of catfish, because people were scamming me and trying to get it back and blackmailing us and all of that. The level of catfish to it mixed with social dilemma and like the dark side of, let's say, those platforms, it was like the amount of evidence I have about this is crazy. But anyways, we might do that someday. But yeah, I cannot say like, oh, don't post this because you will get banned, because we've played according to all the rules.
Mm.
And you know, like, I'm in Forbes, I'm a TEDx
Yeah.
speaker, I've been on TV shows. Still, I got taken down and nobody cared and nobody helped me, right? It took 3 months to get things back. So that also means it was like an ego death. Doesn't matter who you are, they don't care about you. They're not going to help you. They can take you off like this. And also, being in that situation, I got to know so many more big entrepreneurs that get taken down very frequently. So it's that hard thing of like accepting it can happen and just making sure that you don't put all your eggs in one basket, and you get something that you can own, like an email list as well. Yeah,
Mm.
or a podcast, right? Or a
Yeah.
YouTube channel, or something that's not related to Meta, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why, podcasting is my medium because of
Yeah.
very reason, Okay, and I was just want to say something like for so many people, as especially aspiring entrepreneur, aspiring creator, aspiring even speaker, right? We are trying so hard to build a large social media following, to build an audience, to become famous, right? To go viral. But
Yeah.
after hearing what you said, I might take that off my vision board, because when you get there, is crazy things happen to you. People hack your account, people suspend you. Like that is a downside of being famous, right?
Totally. There's a big downside to it, and I guess yeah, it's funny. I mean, even to personal life. So I don't know if you ever think about this, but for example, for me, I'm single now,
Mhm.
and I'm starting to date again.
I love
It's
this.
like I don't
Okay.
actually want them to know my full name, because then they can find every little detail about me, my income, where I've spoken. They can watch all my talks, and they can literally like, it's like, yeah. So, and I'm not even that famous, but I mean more if you're so much out there, so much content. Even
Mm.
those things are kind of funny to think about. That I'm like, it was much easier when I was like just not on all of those things.
I love this. Okay, do you have time? Because I still have a lot of questions
Yeah,
I'm talking
me
about. Okay,
too.
so this is crazy, because I think I watched one of your YouTube videos. They talk about a successful women, like are the loneliest, things like that, right?
Hmm.
And you just talk about that you are single and you have built this massive online business, and you started to date again. I'm actually going through the same situation. Like
Okay,
I'm also
wow. Okay.
single, I'm
Yeah.
building my business and I also want to date.
Yeah.
And I'm a podcaster, that person or my potential partner could listen to my podcast and hear all about my
Beforehand,
yeah,
before the
exactly. So
date.
exactly. But what do you think about that? Like, do you feel it's a lot harder? Because I also want to find someone who is as passionate as me, who is also
Yeah. Yeah.
building a business together in the online space, but it's so hard, to be honest. And so what is your take on this? Like, what are you looking for in terms of your partner? Do you want someone
Mm.
business together with you, or is that totally maybe not?
Yeah. I think so for me it's like, yeah, I think now I just do it in a very specific way. So I think about what do I want in a partner, and then I also think about how to portray myself on, for example, dating apps or to people. So I will give an example. Having businesses and all of that is one side of me, but it is not my identity.
Yeah.
So 4 years ago, when I was dating as well, before that relationship um, that ended, I remember my bio, and I didn't even achieve that much, but literally my bio everywhere was like author of this. I have this business. I'm an agency owner, blah, blah, blah. That is a very, in my opinion, masculine way. You're
Mm,
leading by your achievements.
yeah.
So if you want to attract maybe someone who's attracted to masculinity, so maybe a more feminine person, or I don't know, right?
Yeah.
Just saying that would be a good bio. But I want to attract, a healthy masculine man who wants to be provider, wants to start a family. I want to get married. I want to have kids. So in that case, it is better to lead with my feminine qualities, which is that I love horse riding. I want to date to married. So that's even in my profile. And I am a business owner, but I'm not going to say making 7 figures, book author,
Yeah.
TEDx, this, that, boom, boom, right? No, because that is achievements, and men love to show their achievements.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like, for me at least, again speaking for myself, um, I am also more than that. And I feel like right now in my life stage, I want to focus more on finding that relationship and starting a family. So I'm leading more with feminine qualities. And of course, I want someone who supports my business. Cannot have someone who says, Jet, you're not allowed to work or something like this. That's not going to happen. But at the same time, it's true. I actually don't think it's a good thing if, for example, on our first date, I already rock up and say, "Oh, I own this property here," and I'm like, like, no, that's like you're like that's a very masculine thing to do. Leading with your achievements. No, tell me who you are. I tell you who I am, what I love, what I'm passionate about, what is my like the things I do. What's my family like what's my goals. Um, versus leading with like I achieved X, Y, Z. Look how cool I am. So, in my opinion, all I say is business owner. I don't use my last name. I guess people could even Google me by my first name if they really
Yeah,
wanted to, because it's
really
not super
creepy,
common.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's more like I will obviously discuss and tell that to them, but I want to give them the opportunity to feel in their masculine, to not feel like I'm undermining them or like just dropping all my achievements on them.
Mm.
Uh, so yeah, I don't know if that makes sense, but that's kind of my approach to it now. So, and it's funny, actually, I spoke with my friend about that. She's a web developer. When we, for example, go for dinner somewhere or even in the gym and someone approaches me, she will know if I like the guy or not. And she will know based on what I answer to their questions.
Uh-huh. Okay, I like.
So if they ask me, for example, where do you stay? I say, I stay here, in this area. Ah, okay. Do you rent or do you own? If I say I
What kind of
own a
question is
villa,
that?
it means I don't like them because I don't care, really. If I say, oh, yeah, yeah, I'm just staying there with my friend, then it means that I'm not like, I don't want to like give all my achievements and stuff. And like, I want them, to
Mm.
see me more in my feminine. I don't want to drop all of that right away. Or if they ask me what I do, I either say, yeah, I work online in
Yeah,
marketing, or I say I own three businesses. And if I say I own three businesses, it means I don't really care. I don't really like them,
right.
Um, and it's not lying, it's the truth in all cases, right? But
Oh,
it's more like, what do you lead with? Like, what do you market yourself with? And of course, when you get to know someone better and all of that, um, I'm sure they will know, like you will like, discuss it with them. But for now, I just decide not to market myself with those things on
yeah.
the front end, let's say. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. Like you say, market yourself. Yes, we have to market ourselves in on social media, and now we have to market ourselves
In
in
dating.
dating. Like
Yes,
it's not
I
about which
know.
part of yourself that you are willing to share. I think you just explained it so beautifully. I haven't talked to, about this with any of my friends because no one is going through exactly what I'm going through or
Yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
feeling about dating and building a
yeah,
business. Right. And so thank you so much for sharing. I
yeah.
really appreciate that you sharing something so personal about yourself, not just your achievement, because I believe that's who you really are, and
Mm,
it's not just about your achievement, right? So
totally.
okay, the last thing I want to talk to you about is
Yeah.
about your book. I think it also ties um perfectly with mental health because
Mm-hmm.
about who you are, right? How do you show out? How do you put yourself out there? When you meet people, what do you share about yourself, right? So it's about mental health as well because so often in the social media world, we're trying to put out this perfect image, only the highlight reels, but we are struggling and no one knows, right?
Yeah.
So in your book, what influence you talk about social media's impact on our mental health, on our brain. So my question, could be my last question is what can we as online entrepreneurs, or podcaster, digital creator do to maintain a healthy balance between online visibility because we need that and also our mental well-being? Like what do you do right now to balance both your online presence versus your personal mental well-being?
Yeah. So I think while I was influencer, the currency for my business was attention because the more attention I got, the more brand deals I would get. So then it's very linked to how much likes and followers and comments do you get. Now it's less linked to that, or KPIs and sales metrics are completely different and they're not always related to, social media engagement. So now that's the first thing. It's just a different currency. We're operating now on, just selling and not on first getting attention. The second thing is learning about what social media does to our brain. I think it's so important. And actually, it's funny because today my TEDx talk dropped on the YouTube
Oh,
channel
really? Oh,
about this topic. So about social conformity. So
mm,
I can highly recommend to check that out. But
yeah.
basically, conformism means that we agree with what the majority of people say or think or like or follow, right?
Mm,
And that also means that we kind of change what we put out there
yeah.
because we want to be liked.
Yes.
And if you just understand even the deeper science and research about this, at least for me, it's easier to say, hey, why am I feeling like this? Ah, it's because of that. Okay, so I can resist conformity. I can say, I don't care if I'm gonna be liked or followed. I don't care to follow other people's trends. I'm just gonna do what aligns with me and what I stand for. But I feel like that comes from a level of knowledge. And once you understand how that works and what social media really does to our brain on like a neuroscience level, even, then you have power and then you can resist that feeling as well. Um, so that's important. And then some just basic hacks is stuff like my team makes my content and post for me. So
Mm,
it means I record when I feel creative and they will edit it and make it however it should be and post it. So I'm less involved in that process so that I'm also not constantly checking when I post it, how many likes, la, la, la. So that's one hack. At some point, you could have a team so you are less involved in that process. And the second one, my phone is always on do not disturb.
mm.
So unfortunately, people call me, I'm not answering because I don't want to see any notifications. I want to open it when I want to open it, any apps for that sake. And as you can imagine with the traffic we have, and we have like 4 professional accounts, I have a personal account. I don't want to see any of that. I want to open it when I am ready or when it's the time of the day when I have to do something on these apps and not be so tight and addicted to necessarily checking notifications or things like that. So, having rules with yourself of when you have your phone time, putting your phone on do not disturb, not checking your phone before you go to bed or as soon as you wake up, these
Yeah.
are all really easy things to do that can also help you get out of that social media addiction and those dopamine spikes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. One last question just reminded me
Yeah.
because this I think this is very important. As it's what I experienced myself. It's like as entrepreneur or as a freelancer, whatever you're working for yourself,
Yeah.
and 24/7, all you think about is your business. Like how do I get clients? What do I post today? Maybe
Yeah.
just people who are not where you are. They don't have a team.
Hmm.
Right? They are doing all everything by themselves. They are freelancer, right?
Yeah.
Or self-employed or solopreneur. So how do we take our business out of our mind? Our head, so that we can do other stuff, and it's not about our business all the time, because I'm
Yeah.
sure you can relate to this in the beginning, right? So do you have any hack for that?
Yeah, I would say so. I would make a list and I call that non-negotiable list. So those are the things that every day you just have to do.
Mm,
And it should just become routine. And that's the first thing you should complete. So that could be, for example, okay, one post on social media, one story, an email, and checking in with my clients. That is non-negotiable. Do those first and then try to plan in different things in your day. So things that maybe are creative and this can even, guys, you can sync this even with your cycle as a woman. You can sync this with the moon phases. Like, when do you feel most creative? Okay, then I'm going to make a bunch of content, or this is the time I'm going to make a new course or a new product or do lead generation. You can sync that with how you feel as well. And then, of course, it's things like making sure that your workplace is really nice. So I have a standing desk and I love my office, but I also sometimes go to a cafe. But I will make sure my non-negotiables are done before I leave the house. So that's very important. And yeah, just really blocking out your calendar with blocks. So you can have a deep work block for your non-negotiables. Then do you want to go gym or go for a walk or meditate? Then when are you going to have calls? And then when is your switch off time? Which
mm,
means you should stop all work, turn off your devices, and then do something to empty your mind. And for me, what I love doing is journaling in the evening. But before I journal, I do a brain dump. So any worries, to-dos, anything that's going through my mind now, I write it in my notebook. And this then helps me to kind of literally take it out of my brain and be like, I wrote it down, so it's gone. It's there. We look
right,
at it tomorrow. Then you can journal, for example, about anything like, your favorite relationship, how amazing today was, how amazing tomorrow will be. But then you dumped already all the work stuff as well in your booklet, in your journal. And then we're going to put positive things into it. And then we, for example, go to sleep. So I think it's all about, yeah, balancing and making the ideal work schedule that works for you. And one thing of that as well is don't just tell yourself you have to work 9 to 5. That's such a big one. I see some people struggling with this, like, oh, but I have to start at 9. And then it's like, no, start at 7 a.m.
yeah,
and then deep work and then go for a walk and then go for sunset or, make your perfect day, literally. Make it flexible so that you feel the freedom as well and that you don't just tie yourself to a desk again for
Yes.
yourself. You know? Yeah. Yeah.
Remember why you quit your job in the first place, right?
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
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 Awesome. Thank you
Okay.
so much. I mean, I was planning this to be a 30 minutes interview, but with so much to talk about, I just can't stop talking to you. And thank you so much for being so generous
Perfect.
with me and my listeners
Of
today. Now,
course.
tell my people where to find you, where to connect with you, if they want to join your course, what is the next step?
Yeah, totally. So yeah, you can find me on Instagram mainly. So my handle is Jet van Wijk with an X or at Laptop Lifestyle Master. Those are our two main accounts. If you want to know anything about our program, you can always message us and we're super happy to chat with you or book a free 15-minute call with one of my coaches to just find out if freelancing is for you, if it's the next step that you want to take, if it aligns with you as well. And yeah, our main flagship program is Laptop Lifestyle Master, where it's a 3-month group coaching program where we really help people from A to Z. So from finding your niche and connecting it to your purpose to landing clients in the end of the day. And then we also have some programs for advanced freelancers who want to scale, people who want to start agencies. So it's really just best to connect with us and see, what is the best fit for you at this stage if you want to scale further. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much
Mm.
for offering, like, I'm sure we are all in different stages of our business and you have offers for like every single person out there who are looking to
Yeah.
build a business and, build a lifestyle for themselves. So thank you so much again for coming. And guys, I hope you learned a lot from today's episode. If you have any question, you can leave a comment below and we'll get back to you. Remember to like and subscribe. Thanks for listening and watching today. And until next time, keep showing up. Success doesn't show up for you until you show up and pursue your own success. Bye.